Okay, so here we've got a couple of seats that we're going to put into the Miata today. They're not bad for, you know, for a set of 1991 seats, but we're going to give them a quick wipe down before we put them in with the interior cleaner, just to give them a little bit of a spruce. And then when the weather's a little bit warmer, then we can actually pop them out and we can actually steam clean them, which would be the best thing to do once we rent a steam cleaner. But the foaming interior cleaner is actually quite nice stuff to work with, and yeah, it's quick and easy and gets the job done, makes them smell nice, and yeah, it's looking better already. You can see how much comes off. Just this was perfectly white before we started, so it's, you know, there's a lot of fallout, a lot of stuff in the air that gets into the seats in a convertible, and this helps to get rid of that. Okay, so we're going to install the proper seats into this car. So we're going to take the soft top down to make our lives a little bit easier. Come on. There you go. There you go. Alright, so what we're going to need is we're going to need a 14mm socket, because that's what size the bolts are on this on the Miatas. Right there. So I will go and grab the ratchet and the socket. Okay, so there's our 14mm with an extension to make our lives a little bit easier. Now, with these back ones, sometimes if they're really tight, you might want to go up to a 1/2-inch drive socket with a couple of nice long extensions, and then you can really get, you know, a good pressure on the bolts. So you want to make sure you don't slip off, because the rear bolts can be very tough sometimes, and you don't want to round off the heads. Now, these ones are a piece of cake; they're no problem at all, but just a little trick. If you do get one that's really stubborn, go up to a 1/2-inch drive and you know, get some extensions on it so that you can get all the way in there. Now for the fronts. It's also interesting to note, these aren't the original seat bolts for this car, I don't think. Yeah. Okay, so now the bolts are out. All that's left to do is carefully pick it up, try to go straight up and away from the body so that you don't drop it on the paint. And now would be a really good time to vacuum anything under the seats that you wanted to get out of there. This one's not too bad, but if you've got time and a vacuum in your hand, get in there and go for it and make it cleaner than it's been in years out of there. Now, on the other side here, anytime you have seats that have been out of the car, quite often what happens is the rails become unsynchronized. So you gotta sort of lean the seat back and then pull the lever and then try to get these rails so that they're in line with each other. Not quite. So let's try. You've got little spikes on the end here as well on the front of the seat, and those have to go into these little slots here. So what we want to do is try to get them level, because if you don't get them level, then the seat won't sit properly. That's got it. Another thing that's a good thing to do is put a little bit of never seize on the bolts, so that if you have, you can torque them down, and if you ever want to get them back out, they'll come out nice and easy. Okay, so now we've got the second seat in place, and we're going to just check and make sure the rails are lined up with each other. And if you come around the front, you can see what I mean. What you want to do is make sure that the edge of the rails is parallel, which it's going to be if they're in the correct position, but you want to make sure they're parallel with the front of the seat, because if you've got one of these off a tooth, the seat will be crooked. The rails will be in the right place, but the seat won't be quite lined up. So the best thing to do is, while you've got it in position and the spikes are down into the holes and you've got these in place, pull this lever up and just try sliding the seat back and forth and see how she goes. And if she feels smooth and it looks good, then you're lined up. And what we're going to do is we're going to never seize. You can see how rusty these ones are. That's just how they get after 24 years on this, in this particular Miata's case. So put lots of that on there, and then that'll thread up nicely into the threads, and if it ever has to come out again, it won't rust and it'll be perfect. Nice and easy.
Go.
Okay, so now we've got the second seat in place, and we're just going to slide it around a little bit, make sure that it's smooth and lined up just right, and it is. So we're good. So we'll put that back in the right position. And that concludes the re-and-re of Miata seats. Nice and easy, one of the simplest jobs you can do.